Welcome back to Newsday. Joining me now is the IPA's James Paterson out of Melbourne this afternoon. And James, you've looked into a report looking at the public service, their allowances and benefits, and this report from the IPA suggests it outstrips some of those afforded to the private sector.
That's right, Laura. Not only do public servants already on average earn more than people in the private sector, they earn $81,000 a year on average compared to the private sector workers of $74,000 a year. They also, on top of that, get enormous superannuation benefits of 15.4% compared to 9.5%, and they have dozens and dozens of hidden lurks and perks that you would never see in the private sector. Things like at the Australian Taxation Office, being a wellbeing site representative will earn you $613 a year. At the Department of Agriculture, they will pay for your gym membership, and at the Department of Health, they will pay for your prescription glasses. These are the sort of things we would never see in the private sector, and public sector workers and their union representatives need to realise the great deal they already have.
So they do get the perks, as you point out, in the public sector, but the wages, are they really aligned to some of the huge wages we see in corporate Australia?
No, but of course not very many people work on the huge wages in corporate Australia. That's a tiny proportion of the community. And of course they're earning money that they are being paid willingly in a market through voluntary buyers and sellers. Public servants are different. They're paid from the taxes of ordinary hard-working Australians like you and me. And so they have, I think, a special obligation to deliver value for money for taxpayers and to have a lifestyle which is, in line with the lifestyles of the taxpayers who have to pay for them. For example, the Department of Defence, they can take 1 day off a year in addition to their annual leave at full pay for whatever reason they like. They don't even have to explain. If you or I tried that at work, Laura, I think we'd be in real trouble.
Looking at some of the reforms that the Abbott government tried to push through, there was a real focus on so-called double dippers of paid parental leave. Just this week, that's been dropped by the new Turnbull government. Are those the kind of things the IPA is suggesting should be, taken out of the public service?
That's exactly what we're suggesting. If public servants want another pay increase, yet another pay increase above the rate of the private sector, then at the very least they need to give up some of the extraordinary benefits that they have that would never exist in the private sector. There are federal departments that will pay you $3.5 grand to set up your own home office. There are some that will pay you $20,000 to work from a remote location, even if you're already based in a remote location. You don't even have to move there. These are the kind of things that public servants are going to have to give up if they want higher pay, and their union representatives should be doing the right thing and acknowledging that.
I couldn't help but notice after the resignation of Senator Ronaldson today, your name has come up as perhaps one of the front runners for his Senate spot. Is it? Are you a front runner?
Well, I'm flattered by that, Laura, I have to say. Michael Ronaldson has enormous boots to fill. He's been an absolute stalwart of the Victorian division of the Liberal Party and was a terrific minister in the Abbott government. We are very sorry to see him go. Yes, I would be interested in serving in his place. It would be a great honour to be able to go and fight for the great causes of the Liberal Party from the Senate, for lower taxes, for smaller government, for freedom of speech, and for the things that Liberals believe in.
Also, it is being described as a bit of a Melbourne Cup race for that Senate position, though. How do you like your chances?
Well, it would be very presumptuous of me to put any odds on that, Laura. I'm speaking to my employers, I'm speaking to the Victorian Liberal Party members and consulting their advice. The thing that they tell me is that they want a voice for their values. They want someone who's going to stand up in Canberra and fight for the things that they believe in. I think that's something that I can do really well, given the almost 5 years I've spent at the IPA doing that every day, fighting for liberal democracy and free enterprise and the institutions of Western civilisation that have served our country so well.
And how long does the pre-selection process take? When will we know who the new candidate is?
Well, that is yet to be determined, and that's a matter for the administrative committee of the party. They will determine that length of time and process. Michael Ronaldson has said that he will stay a senator until until someone is found to replace him.
But you expect the seat to be filled well and truly before Parliament resumes next year?
I suspect it will certainly be before the next election. Whether it's by the time Parliament is back up and running again, I don't know.
Okay. James Paterson, good luck and thanks for your time today.
Thanks, Laura.
And coming up